In accounting, what is it we do? We summarize. You please tell me, the host of transactions are recorded in the general ledger. Now from general ledger, we extract something called trial balance. To facilitate what all we have recorded in various general ledger, we are trying to now simulate them in one sheet of paper to be called trial balance. You know what is the content of trial balance? It is nothing but the balances that are extracted, both of debit and credit, is what we are going to carry in the trial balance. Those who do not know accounting, don't bother about all that. You please hear them. All that will be very useful at the later point of time when I am going to recall you all that at the appropriate juncture. I will tell you what we were talking about earlier. So therefore, from the general ledger, we are extracting the trial balance, and the trial balance will contain in one place, in one sheet of paper, all the balances and all the balances of debit and all the balances of credit, where all in whichever source that we have created through the bookkeeping job, they all get summarized. Now, from that, we consider they are all the items to go to manufacturing count. They are all the items to go to the trading. They are all the items to go to P&L. They are all not subject matter of revenue. They are all subject matter of balance sheet. Like we are summarizing them. Out of them, direct expense, indirect expense, operating income, non-operating income, operating expense, other non-operating expense, non-operating expense. Like, we are bifurcating them. They are all capital expenditure. They are all revenue expenditure. Like we are going to now bifurcate. All that is being done by who? The accountant who prepares accounting. So therefore, in the accounting, this process, the first process is summarizing. The second process is analyzing. Third process is interpreting. Final process is communication to the world at large. Those who are users of accounting, those who are supposed to be given, whether internal users or external users, to whom we have to communicate in the form of your profit and loss account and balance sheet. So that communication is the last job. So how many jobs again involve beyond the bookkeeping for the accountant to perform? 4. What are they? Summarizing, analyzing, interpreting, and then communicating are the 4 other jobs. So in total, how many activities covered under the accounting? Bookkeeping activity of first 4, then furthermore the processing activity of next 4, in total making up the accounting as accountant to perform. And that is where we ultimately prepare our financial statement, which is our objective of accounting. Therefore, friends, you please tell me, what is accounting in terms of the CPA Institute, American Institute of Certified Public Accountant? Have you heard of CPA qualification, friends? CPA qualification is nothing but Indian Chartered Accountants, whatever role, whatever the undertaking or responsibility that they can undertake, they are all by the American similar professional to be given with in the name of CPA qualification. The Indian Chartered Accountants passing CPA, they need only hardly about less than 4 months time. If only they have the time to write the exam there, it is less than 4 months or less than 2 months in which they can, but that is, there are lot of the formalities that we have to go through. So only for that you need time. But otherwise, examination is so simple for a chartered accountant. Americans, they take 7 or 8 years to qualify CPA. Indian chartered accountant needs to go to America. For that, he needs to have 1, money. Number 2, he needs time. And in about 2 to 3 months, if he is prepared to stay there in US, then he will be able to easily attack the exam and he gets a qualification. That is a background of many CPA when they happen to be the chartered accountant. So that is a stability in our professional course that we have here, so that internationally the examination on these lines, which is being now thrown open as a challenge to a chartered accountant, he is able to now win over so fast. That is what I am telling you. That body is called American Institute of Certified Public Accountant. Only that body gives you the CPA qualification. As in India, Indian Chartered Accountancy Institute is giving you the qualification. American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, constituted in 1941, gives you the CPA qualification. Now friends, according to them, which is a traditional definition for the word accounting, what is that being given? Accounting is an art or process of recording, classifying, summarizing in a significant manner in terms of money, transactions and events which are in part at least of a financial character and interpreting the result thereof. What is the result? Result is the outcome of income statement and the financial with the positional statement is what we say is a result. This is a traditional definition given by the CPA body. Now, there is one modern definition given by American Accounting Association, AAA body. We used to call them as AAA body, American Accounting Association, now constituted way back in 1966. What is their definition? Accounting is a process of identifying, measuring and communicating. Please tell me, friend, how many total the function that we said is covered as activity under accounting? How many total activity that we said we have to look at as by count? 8. 4 in bookkeeping, 4 further beyond bookkeeping for completing accounting compliance. Now, if that be the case, in that, what is the first one we said for bookkeeping? Identifying. I said identifying is a first. Look at that, identifying. That is where the definition starts, identifying. Then what is the next one we said? Measuring. That was the second function of the bookkeeping we said. That is there. Then what was the 8th function of the accounting completion? Communicating. Please check up. Identifying, measuring and communicating economic information. Now friend, why I am taking so much time in all that? You are going to carry objective type of question on that. You must know which is the definition of AAA and which is not a definition of AAA. You must know the difference. And for that, you have to understand like this. You must carry a clarity of which is now a right answer, which is not a right answer amongst answer that we are going to be given with. So therefore, please concentrate in that style. Only that will give you a lot of the stability in your answering the objective type. So therefore, accounting is a process of identifying, measuring and communicating the economic information to permit informed judgment and decision by the users of accounting information. This definition is found to be a modern definition because in 1941 given by CPA body is traditional definition. But here it is a modern definition. But this modern definition is what we are talking about as the totality of activity of the accounting. Out of 8 activities that we have now given, it is after all the first, second and the 8th is being now packed into this. So it gives you right from beginning till the end of the entire scope of activities of accounting, and therefore this definition we say is a modern definition which is well celebrated definition. Right. Now please tell me therefore what is covered in bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is an integral part of accounting. It covers identifying the transactions and events. Already you have understood. Number 2, measuring the identified transactions and events in monetary. You have already taken note of recording the identified and measuring transactions and events in the proper books of account. What are the proper books of accounts? I said it can get entered through journal proper or cash book or books of primary, the other subsidiary books or subsidiary ledger, which are the 3 segment of books of prime entry we were talking about. The general ledger I said is not a book of prime entry. That is what we have to consider in the 4th. What is the 4th job that we said we have to do? Classifying the recorded transactions and events in the ledger. Okay. Now what is the meaning of accounting? If you know the systematic knowledge of accounting, you are given to understand that yes, you have done the accountancy. That is how to do and how not to do, why to do and why not to do certain things. If you have been now habituated to appreciate, then of course you can say that you have been a good accountant. Now that means you please try to understand the first and the foremost integral part of accounting is bookkeeping. Then the next layer on that is a process called accounting, and of course the possession of both, the knowledge of that is called accountancy. Now what all the activities covered under accounting? Identifying, measuring, recording, classifying. These are the first 4 activities covered under bookkeeping as part of accounting. Please check up the caption in the examination. Be careful. If they say activities covered under bookkeeping, you must stop at that. But if they are asking you activities covered under accounting, then you know accounting includes bookkeeping. So therefore all the bookkeeping function, then thereafter the other processive function on the accounting we have to add together. So therefore now tell me what is the 5th process that we have to look for? Summarizing. What is the 6th process we said? Analyzing. Then what is the 7th process we were talking about? Interpreting. And what is the 8th and the last process we said? communicating. So what is the activities covered under accounting is to be understood like this. First four of bookkeeping, and then the next four of the further processing, which is to complete the accounting activity. So please tell me, have you understood this? Right. Now quickly tell me, what do you mean by identifying the transaction? Whether in the transaction there is an exchange, who are the two parties involved, and for whom we are accounting for, whether there is one sacrificing, one receiving, is what we are to look for. Then measuring means, as I told you, if it is in India, Indian rupee value. If it is in America, then American dollar. Like the respective countries, the monetary value you please assess and measure with them. Then what do you mean by recording? Recording in the chosen records, whether it is a transaction to go to journal proper, or it is to go to cash book, or it is to go to the host of subsidiary books, is what we are to, and accordingly we are to create the books of prime entry. Books of prime entry is not only journal proper, there are three categories in which you can identify the books of prime entry. That is what we are to. Then what do you mean by classifying? They are all being now recorded. All the payment made during the year towards salary goes to the salary account, and all the payment that you have given to the landlord towards rent is to go to rent account. All the electricity charges that you have incurred is to go to one electricity charges account. All the repairs to the AC, whatever you have incurred, is all going to in one account throughout the year. So at different point of time you incur, in different months, different weeks you incur, but all of them are being now summarized, and in one place you are able to see. That is what we say is being now considered to be classifying in the recording of in the ledger. Then summarizing. It is only classified transactions in the more useful manner. It is to be considered whether it is a manufacturing activity, trading activity, or P&L activity. All that, as I told you, direct, indirect, all that. Then analyzing. What do you mean by analyzing? You are taking quite a few items of income statement, quite a few items of balance sheet, or within the items of income, within the items of balance sheet, and you are trying to now make some comparison, and you are trying to analyze. For so much of input, so much of output has come, and whether it is good or it is bad, profitability, all that we are talking about. And interpreting whether our firm between the last Deepavali and this Deepavali season doing well or not, whether last summer and this summer whether we are doing, being a seasonal product, whether in the last season whether we have made a better input as compared to the current year, or whether our market share is improving as compared to our competitors. Like when you are making all these interpretation, that is where we are talking about something called, my CBSE student and I think state board children also must have studied something called ratio analysis. And whatever little, in a small dosage, you must have done the ratio. All that is done by accountant in the interpreting function. It is only a question of interpretation. That is gross profit ratio, net profit ratio, operating ratio, current ratio, quick assets ratio, debt equity ratio, leverage ratio, capital gearing ratio, like and all. When we are talking about all these ratios are only a subject matter of interpretation to reveal, inform to the, in fact, management. The analyzing function and interpretation function is an internal management. But for the outsiders, what is alone we communicate only what is a profit and loss and what is the assets and liability that we have. So that communication function is the last function. The other two, earlier two, are only internal management. All the analysis that we do, all the interpretation that we do, we will not inform it to the public at large. For the users of accounting, we will only communicate the income statement and the positional statement and nothing beyond. That is how we are to consider. So both your internal operations and external operation, they are all packed into the accounting function under accounting activity. Now, friends, therefore, all these activities we have now gone through, we have understood. Okay. Now let us look at